pasa ese. E aqui em algum lugar aqui. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Let me just see if it's gonna. Yeah. If it doesn't, I'll call it back.
Somebody put out the book for me. That's good. I didn't have to go searching for it. It's right here. Yes, I know. I'm just saying that usually I got to search for it before I begin. All right. Good evening. Welcome to the first meeting of the new year. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and are ready to get back into some normal, regular life, and at this time. So let's first of all, if we have our cell phones, please turn them to off or to vibrate so we can concentrate on the message tonight. And we've all been here before, so let's just get right into it. Let's get started. Relax in your chair. I'm going to read a message from Happy Life, and then we'll do our opening prayer. This is the second time I've had this come up, so it must be mine. And you guys are all going to laugh when I read it because you know what it is. Don't yell. No situation calls for yelling because it makes the situation even worse. I should know that by now. When you speak in a normal tone, the rowdy will become silent so they can hear you. Depends on who the rowdy is. Should you try to compete with them by yelling too, you will lose your voice and you will not be heard. The voice reveals a person's behavior and emotional state. We are not referring to vocal dynamics of professional speaking, which does have its purpose, but to a natural, audible, and friendly tone. Have you heard yourself on tape, especially when upset? It says try it. No, thank you. Yeah, that is definitely for me, as my lovely wife laughs in the corner. Heavenly Father, as we begin our meeting tonight, we thank you for this opportunity. Send the good spirits to guide our lesson. May it not only touch our minds, but our hearts as well. Continue to light our path and make this path straight. Watch over our families and friends, that they may find the path and see your light. And as we begin, we say the words Jesus taught us: Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. So now I would like to invite Sabrina up here to speak to us tonight about facing struggles. Don't yell.
Good evening. I think I deserve a little bit more than that, right? It's what day is today? 17? No, 20th? Okay, so let's say good evening. And if it's not good yet, it's going to be, right? 2022, new year. Life is the same, right? We often hear that new year, new life. No, it's just a time to renew our emotions, set some goals, and but the life is the same and is a great life. And you might be thinking about, okay, we are in the second week of the month, starting in the third week, and are we already talking about struggle? Yes, because that's part of life, right? Don't you agree? So the topic today, it's a very simple. I don't even like to call as a lecture because that's not the way I see it, but it's a topic for reflection. And as we move on, what I would like to ask you is for each one of us to try to internalize the message that we are about to see and hear, not from me, but from the spirits that are a lot higher than us, that brought to us a message of hope, of perseverance, and of a bright future ahead of us. But as this picture illustrates, if that works here, hopefully it does. If not, let's get into here. Okay. Who doesn't go through a struggle? Pretty much everyone. And many of us might be thinking that, well, that person in Hollywood, you know, beauty, money, right? Some of them don't need to go to the gym, right? Some people are blessed with that. Evidently, I was not, but some people just don't need even to exercise. They are just natural, beautiful. Okay, great. But there is a part of that human being deep inside that's not okay. Something is going on. If it's not in what we see outside, deep inside, there is a missing piece. There is something that that person, that is spirit, that human being has to face. Why? Because we are on earth. That's the news of tonight. And this planet is a planet of moving forward. Rain or shine, we have to go. And as we're going to see today, and before I go over, I want to just point out that the sources for this talk today is from the Spirit's book, The Gospel According to Spiritism, chapter 5, Blessed are the Afflicted, which is a chapter I invite you, each one of you, to read. Especially in the moment when we think that we are not going to make it. It's a consolation. And in a book called Wake Up and Be Happy by Joanna De Angelis, and the messages facing struggles. So thanks to her, I'm not good at making topics, titles, so I get it from her. The name of the message is Facing Struggle in the book. I'll present it to you in a minute. So Spiritism is very simple. It is not meant to be a difficult message. And that's the reason why the main goal tonight is to touch each heart present on earth or for the spirits that are brought here, because believe it or not, we are not alone. Each chair is occupied by someone just like us. We don't see them, but they are here. They undergo similar struggles that we do. Maybe you can say, no, they don't have bills to pay. Yeah, but guess what? At someday they had it and they're going to have it again because they're going to come back to it. So this topic is for everyone, for both sides of life. But to start, I wanted to bring out that Joanna De Angelis is going to tell us that life is a constant struggle, meaning that it's the struggle in our life, the hardships and the situations we undergo are the activity. It's what moves us. So if we think about nature, right? What the animal does in the wild, if he's just born and sit down and do nothing, is he gonna survive longer? No. He has to look for food, look for shelter. And you say, wow, but they are animals, of course. And so we are in another species, of course. But even in the less evolved, I can say, forms, our brothers, animals, they struggle to get their food, to run and learn if they are siblings with their mother, how to survive in the wild. So the butterfly, the same thing. If you try to rupture the cocoon, what happens? She dies. So the struggle of going face to face and being shrunken in that, and we want to take her out of that, but she's not ready yet. So she has to go over that. That's another thing. The same thing with pregnancy. We are not in the spiritual world, and our good spirits, the guardian angels, whoever you want to call, the spirits that are very dear to us, they just don't say, okay, go ahead, go there, show up at your crib there. There is a process, a conception, of body formation, of being that womb for quite a bit of while in that very tiny space. There is a process of transformation of that spirit, of his conscious, of his knowledge, of his memory, for him to jump in another experience. That's a struggle. It's not easy to come back. It's not easy, but it's worth it. So struggle are blessed challenges imposed by the law of progress. We only progress if we go through some situations. It's just like if we didn't have anything to undergo in this life, we would be sitting down at home doing nothing. No target, no aspirations, no ambitions, no development, intelligence, moral, nothing. But for us to step outside of ourselves, there is to face a few things that we have to face. In this, in these terms, we have to think about what when Allan Kardec put it in the spirits book in the item 100, he categorized the spirits by three categories: first order, second order, and third order. Then you're like, why you are bringing this? What has to do with this? Because the question, it's about, okay, could God exempt the spirits, us, all of us, from the trials that are required of them to reach the first order? Meaning, if God is good, perfect, he can do everything, couldn't he or she, whoever you want to call, um, create us perfect, already in the first order, meaning pure spirits? It's spirits where the good, it's predominant. Don't you think that God can do that? All powerful, all love. So we could, right? And the spirits of second order are the good spirits, are spirits just like us. In a way that the spiritual matters are overcoming the matter, the attachment to matter. So the good side of them is predominant. And there are those folks, which, believe it or not, we're included, third order, which are the imperfect spirits. Now, let me tell you something. If you go to the item 100 in the spirits book, you're going to be upset because imperfect spirit, evil spirits, no. In that category, there are different types. There are people that are still inclined to do evil. There are spirits that are just malicious. There are spirits that are just frivolous, and there are spirits that just thoughtless, just don't want to do anything in life. And there are spirits just like us that gets up, fall, gets up, fall, mistake, right, mistake, right, and that goes along. So that's where we are right now, in a winning and lose situation. But tonight we're going to learn that we're not losing anything. Because when Allan Kardec asked the spirits, couldn't God create us without going through these trials? Right? That's a very valid question. And then the answer is, if they, which is us, have been created already perfect, they would not deserve to enjoy the benefits of that perfection. Where would the merit be without the struggle? So if God has the power, he could do that, right? What would be the merit of us to evolve? So God chose to give us the opportunity to reach the merit, to reach the evolution, to reach the higher levels of spirituality by our own effort, by our own choices, because that's our destiny. You want it or not, we are going to be light. Now, the speed, the way we're going to get there, that's our choice. But we are going to be good, entirely good. Not absolute good, because only God is good, pure perfection, but we will. So he gave us the chance to, in a way of, we could fight in a way of a positive way to reach that perfection. That happens through our efforts, through the struggles that we undergo, through the situations in life. That's not a magic. So moving on, Joanna D'Angeli is going to tell us about two types of struggle. The first one are those that are from earth. Do you know any of that? By this picture, we can pretty much have an idea. So we struggle to get things, right? I know some people that they eat rice and eggs for a whole year so they can have the best car in the dealership. That's a totally unnecessary struggle. But we choose that. Many of us do. When I say many of us, in humanity perspective. So another one that we undergo is individuals that are inclined to do evil, oppressing others through power, through money, without mention government and any other personality that is in a powerful condition. That can happen. So it is a real struggle. The oppression, the aggression of those people there think that it's okay to simply smash each other's head. Some people are like that and continue on living their lives the way, like nothing happened. We also undergo a struggle of conscience because whoever do things to destroy nations, to damage others' lives, it's going to deal with a guilt conscience in the future. That's fact. That's not maybe. No, that person is going to go back and we'll have to redo all that. Another thing we can think about it is that we struggle so much to enjoy stuff that is temporary. We die because of our jobs. Oh, but I have to eat. I have to leave. Okay, I get it. We all do. But I can also tell you that tomorrow, if we pass away, it won't take long to be replaced. So your job in mind is not everything. But some people see that as everything. Leaving aside everything else, family, and whoever you want to say, affection, whatever it is. So those are the type of struggle. There's nothing wrong with having money. Nothing wrong. But when we put this as a priority in life, forgetting ourselves, damaging others' life, not thinking about our inner growth, then is a problem. So the problem is that not having the best car, the best home, but I'm going to do everything because I have to have the best house in the neighborhood. Who said that? Other than ourselves setting that for ourselves. And we struggle. We go over a lot of situations, financial damage, sometimes to prove what? To show others. So those are the types of struggles that she brings to us that are created on earth, right? Now, one that is for the main topic that for tonight that we have to think about it is the other side of those situations where she mentions this struggle to do good. I don't know if you guys heard it before, but have you heard that statement that says it's hard to do good? No, I heard many times, and I can tell it is hard. In a world that we live in, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to follow the right path. All the appeals, all the stuff that's calling us outside, to leave aside what is really like the treasure for our hearts, for our souls, it's enormous. Now, it is also difficult to do good in a world like this where we turn on the television, it's disgrace, suffering, right? It's very hard when we look at on the TV or on the internet and look for a bright news. It's always, most of the time, the negativity. So me and you, we look at that and said, what's the point? In this world, all rip it apart, especially now, pandemic, right? What's left? That's the point. So we are tired, overloaded, exhausted when we are surrounded by evil. we must renew our feelings toward goodness. That's a must. Think about the hard times that we have to self discover ourselves. What's inside me that's not good? That's hard to admit, right? Very few of us take the time to think about what's inside me that's not quite right. It's all about what others are doing to me. Most of the time is that's what we do. Um, the struggle to acquire assets, values, moral values, it's hard. Don't you agree that's hard to be patient, or is just for me? Is it easy? Is it an easy thing? Please tell me it's not easy, because I will be. It is easy to be tolerant. It is easy to be unselfish. No, it's not. So it's very hard to overcome those primitive passions that we have. Many people, I like to bring the example, and every time I have the opportunity, everybody says, spiritists always say, when I hit the lottery, I'm going to buy a spirit center. Really? Right? Everybody say, do you really think? I'm not sure. Sometimes I ask the question, if I hit the lottery tomorrow, would I be here? We have to question that and not be so sure about this. So it is a struggle to develop our intelligence, our intelligence, our morals, to make decisions that are good for us and for others. This morning, I was trying to teach my child what is a good decision. And I had a hard time because most of the times I don't do good decisions. And I tried to tell him, listen, when you're going to do something, think about this. Doesn't harm me, doesn't harm anybody else. It might be a good path. It's going to harm me or do something to somebody else, or each one of us, or only one of us, maybe it's not the right path. That's the only way I can say. Because it is very hard to keep our values, integrity, respect. In the world that we live in, this is a must, but this is hard. So she took care of that and brought us that there is also this type of hardships in life. The time that my husband read that and about the yelling, I mean, how many of us yells? I mean, I do quite a bit. I try not to, but there are days that we have to yell, right? We have, because we can't do otherwise because of our imperfections. So, and she also said, unfortunately, it's not everybody that direct their efforts to develop toward goodness. We are really attached to things that are from this world, right? So now this is a question that Joanna Giangeli is going to ask us. Pretty much, what kind of struggle are we dedicating ourselves? We have to think about this, because I presented to you guys both of them, struggles created on earth and struggles to do good. Well, guess what? The struggle is real, right? We are in this ocean, guys. That's it. We are here. It's going to happen no matter what. That's part of the progress, part of our evolution. So it is real. Now, as a human being reincarnated in this world as an immortal spirit, I have to choose what type of struggle I'm dedicating myself to, because I have no choice, right? Am I struggle to get things, or I'm struggling to get values, to develop myself? That's something we have to ask ourselves every single day, in every attitude that we go through. So she's going to ask us, what is your fight? What is your fight? Because we have to fight, right? Remember the animal in the wild? Imagine us, we are in the wild. When I say fight, it's not fighting with each other, it's fighting with ourselves to develop, to get those seeds that God put in us and develop that. It's hard. It's a hard work, but it's possible. So she's going to ask, what is your struggle? Because sometimes this fight can lead to chaos. When the individual, it's not enough, like put together, conscious of its torments, of its afflictions. So sometimes when the crisis come, the wave can take us away. And we don't want that, right? Another thing, it's hard for us to distinguish the type of struggle that we are going through. It's very hard because to me, having the best car from from the dealership might be the most wonderful thing I can do in life. For others, might be treat others better. So it really depends on the person. Other situations that we have to think that we cannot avoid. Okay, I get it. There are things in life that we cannot avoid. I go to the doctor today, I receive a diagnosis. Okay, that's it. I have to start working towards that and look for help and do the treatments, whatever I need to do. But that's a fact. That's my reality right now. But there are some situations that we go through that we choose to go through. We choose. And this is the point, right? What do we do? Because we are in this ocean. I don't know about you guys. I love the ocean when it's calm. It's very good, right? But if you stay there every day for 10 days in that little mat, right, that we lay down on the beach, it gets boring. It has to have some wave, some splash, some. I don't know about you guys, but I get a little agitated. So, yes, it's good to have some calmness, but we need some shake up, some movement. And that's how it is. But when the wave comes, we have to be prepared. And this is the point. Not all the time we are thinking about, especially when things are calm, we just relax. Planet Earth. And I'm not saying this for us to, okay, what's next? What's the next? What's the next horrible thing that's going to happen? It's not this. But we have to be alert. When things are too good, it's not, oh, it's too good to be true. No, it's great to be good. And it's going to continue on. But challenges are coming. If we don't have that perspective, it's going to be really difficult. So the goal is when we go through some situations in life, it's try to take the good out of it. I can guarantee to you that each one of us, if we ask ourselves, we will have a situation, and you don't have to tell me, but you can think about it. If you haven't gone through 10 years ago, maybe 6 months ago, you will not be the person that you are today. You will not have the strength, the faith, the hope that you have today. At that time that happened, we thought that the world was going to end, right? Or not? I love to give that example in the other work that we participate. You cried your lungs for the first boyfriend and girlfriend. Would you do that today? Oh, you would? Well, maybe you guys are together, right? With all respect for those bright spirits, their first boyfriend and girlfriend for the whole life. But guys, 20 years ago, would you cry for that girlfriend and boyfriend? Like you cried when you were a teenager? No. You went through so many other experiences, met different people, your life changed so much. But at that time that happened, oh my gosh, the world is going to end. So that's the point. When the crisis come, we think that's it. But that's the time that we have to think that the hardship of today is developing our strength for tomorrow. That's one thing. So when we go through a situation, I love a passage that it's in this chapter 5. It's called the evil and the remedy. The spirits are gonna tell Kardec the following: that in the other side of life, when we were before we come to this planet, we were there and we chose a bunch of things to go through. We know that some hardships will help us to evolve. Some of them would help us to, do a little bit different than we've done before. So I want it, I want it, I want it. I can take it. And then they tell us, why complain now? Why complain now? If in there, before we were washed out, our spirit knows. Before we were totally brainwashed, right, for this new life, we know that that was the best for us, that we can take it. But now, instead of we see this as an opportunity to grow, we see as a disaster in life. And that's the point. We have to, when we go through this type of conditions, we have to think what God wants to teach me with this. What is the lesson behind this? Is that on that statement that say what doesn't kill me makes me stronger? Guess what? There is no struggle to kill us. Because God, perfect, 100% good, absolutely good, will not allow that. There's no punishment. There are growth, personal growth, spiritual growth. So when I say that, we are not saying, and I say we, is that the spirits are not telling us to simply sit and wait because, okay, this is my trial, so let me just sit and wait because this is what God wants. No, we have to fight to overcome. Of course, that's the goal. But I always think, what's the meaning behind this? Prayer. How can I face this? I'm weak now. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Deep inside, we have to think about it. Harder the trial, bigger than victory. Not at this moment. At this moment, it's chaos, right? For some of us, looks like everything is falling apart. But later on, which is what we are going to see next, when we think that we're going through a lot, we think that we are going downhill. Everything is lost. It's failure. I'm not worth nothing. I'm not good enough. The good news is, it's not because that we are struggling that we are failing. That might be completely the opposite. We're growing. You're reaching out. You're getting better. Understand that concept? Because some people going through a lot and they say, oh, I'm nobody. I can't do anything right. My life is just a misery. No, this is the thing. Plan A didn't work. Plan B didn't work. And believe me, God doesn't go to the alphabet. He has a lot more than the Z plan for us. So this is the point. It's not because life it's full of hardships sometimes that we are losers. No. So, okay, if we're not losers, what it is then? What's going on then? If everything is not lost. So what's going on is a spiritual evolution, self-awakening. If I stay home watching Marvel, which I love it, I get it, it's wonderful. Can I just do that the whole day? Don't work? Don't do anything? Don't interact people? I cannot. So it gets to some time that I have to move and deal with life, right? So the same way here, guys. We do have to think that what's happening in this process when we think we are falling, that we are no worth, it's fighting against our lower tendencies. And how is that? That situation comes to test my tolerance is an invitation to fight our lower tendencies because we're not tolerant enough. That situation comes to challenging my honesty. That's because I have to improve on that matter. If we start seeing our hardships in that perspective, it might be easier to go through them. I love to bring the concept that Joanna De Angelis tells us about God as an educator, not something or somebody that wants to punish us. No. So an educator gives you a test. A real educator is going to give you a test in things that you know. No, because if it is everything that you know, what do you learn? Nothing. So let's take those tests as opportunities to grow. If there was no struggle, there will be no strength. Remember, Joanna De Angelis would tell us that if there is no struggle, life would deteriorate. And if we think about the little animal there, if he doesn't struggle to get his food, guess what? He's going to die, right? Of course, it's a comparison that, okay, I can get my food. Yeah, right. Okay. But some people out there cannot. So for them, this is absolutely, completely devastating. The struggle is a blessing. It stimulates our progress, push us toward goodness. Because I don't know about you guys, but there is a time where the evil and some situations in our lives, we say enough. Enough. The suffering is not forever. There are some times we say enough of this. And that's when we reach that point when we are in the spiritual world and say, great, now let's make a plan. Let's make a plan for you to try to do better next time. It might not be that easy, but it's possible. Would you take it? And we want to progress. We wanted to become much better. Say, yes, I'll take it. And then we come back and it's hard. So think about the brain, right? Neuroscientists prove that our brain learns through mistakes. If you go to school and take a test and stuff that you know, all right, what are you learning? So for the brain connections, the paths are learning to be built. You have to make mistakes. There are some stuff it's hard to learn. That's part of the process. It's hard to learn about patience, right? Or not? It's hard, but it's part of, we don't know anything about it. It's very minimal that we're going through, but it's a process. So a few strategies that she's going to bring it to us. Joanna De Angelis is going to bring for us to maybe to help us to face those situations. So each one of you can think about your personal life. It's not like a judgment or anything like that. It's just for us to reflect, to internalize that and see, okay, what can I see this happening to me? So the first one is grow towards God. That's the first strategy that she brings to us, because what she means is that we cannot live only thinking about this life. We have to think about the freedom of our spirit. This is a temporary state. Grow towards the spiritual matters. Live your life and my life, even though with hardships, it doesn't matter, as an immortal spirit. That can help alleviate that process. But it's hurting, right? It's there. It's hurting. It's so absolutely miserable. I get it. And it's going to hurt. It's part of the process. But it's not going to be forever. So thinking about future life, dear friends, it's very difficult to live in this world without thinking about a future life. We see this happening every day. Suicides, drugs, whatever you want to call. But when we have the spiritual perspective, although the life can be very difficult, that gives us the strength to move on. That something out there, a lot better, is going to come. There's a path for me to go through, but it is going to happen. The next one is, do not turn your struggle into an instrument of torment for yourself or others. Remember when I said at the beginning, I'm not worth it. I know nothing. Everything happens to me. I'm nobody. Let's think about this. Because when we don't think about putting ourselves down, our tendency is blame somebody else. I'm like this because the person I live with. I'm like this because that person treats me like this. When in reality, we have to turn towards ourselves and say, okay, how do I deal with this? Because people, right, in our lives, they are not our struggle. We think they are, right? My boss is my problem. No, your boss and my boss are instruments for us to deal with our problems, our own problems. So let's see them as the tools that God allows us in our life, God allows in our lives for us to progress. So that person that you can't stand is not your problem. The problem is how you're going to develop a relationship with that human being. That's the problem. How you're going to curve towards your pride to treat that person better. That's the struggle. But the person itself, we cannot control what people do to us. What the person is going to say or want to do, but we can control our attitude towards that condition. That's the only thing we can do. Not even our thought we can control. This thing is, control your thoughts. No, we can't. Before we know, we already thought about that person in a way that, oh my gosh, So let's just think about that. Don't throw ourselves, our struggling into others. There's nothing to do with them. We have to look to ourselves first. Find peace without trying to push your limits or embark on endeavors beyond your reach. Many of us go through these situations. I love to give that example. I think he was going to explain a little bit better. I'm not a sports person. If somebody today offers me $1 million to go to Olympics, and I say, yes, let's go, it's going beyond my reach. I can do that. But some people put themselves in situations where clearly you can see maybe it's not the path for me, but I'm taking because I'm going to prove myself. So if we think about this, we could eliminate a lot of hardships in our lives. And of course, I'm not saying that we are not going to try to become better, try to reach our goals. It's not that. But we have to know where are our limits. What can I do at this point? What I cannot do? When it's enough? Sometimes we don't know when it's enough. Until we get a little pinch. Oh, it hurts. Okay, it's enough. But there's just something for us to think about it. Try to reach things there are, and any time she's saying that, okay, just do the minimum. Don't look for any challenges because you're not good enough. No, it's not this. Like I say, I can do the Olympics, but I could do many other things. Each one of us have certain capabilities and skills and things that can be developed in a wonderful way. I cannot be Albert Einstein, but I can do something else. Stop comparing ourselves to others. Life would be a lot simpler than that. turns towards reality. What's happening in my life right now? It's not about the others. We are masters of avoidance. We run from ourselves, look for stuff outside, but that's the invitation. To figure it out what's going on with me, I have to turn to my own reality and see what's going on with me, not with others, not what people are doing to me. What's going on with me? We run away from that a lot. Embrace your life as rather than as you wish to be, as it is. My neighbor's life is his life. That's it. My life is my life. Sometimes we go through a lot because we're comparing ourselves to others, right? No, I am who I am. I have my own skills. I can grow my own, my own skills. I can do many things. You can do some things. I can do some things. I can develop. You have another type of inclination, and everybody has its values. Embrace the life as it is. Again, not doesn't mean that we are not going to reach for our goals, but we have to be precise. We have to understand, okay, when it's enough, right? Okay, this is my situation. I make such amount of money. I cannot buy $1 million home, and some people do, even though they know they cannot afford that. That's the thing. Our reality, embrace our life the way it is. Practice gratitude. This is a tool, I don't know, but for when we are going through a lot, a good invitation is to just step at the hospital. Go visit somebody that's severely ill. I had a lesson this week that I'm going to share with you. We're almost done. I was in a support group for parents, and this woman, and we always complaining, right? Support groups is for us to put it out, whatever. And this woman, at the end of the conversation, presentation, the slides, she said, for the coordinator, I'm blind. I'm the only mother. I'm single. I'm blind. My son has disabilities. I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed because I put myself in her situation. Me, blind, single, with a child with special needs. Come on. It's time to be grateful. It's a slap on our face. So practice gratitude. It's one tool that helps us to deal with our trials in life. There's always somebody that is in need of help and worse than us. The word is out there for us to see. Stay close to your feelings, even the painful ones. Oh, this is so hard, dear friends. It's so hard to recognize how proud I am, how selfish, how arrogant. But I have to find those feelings, right? We have to look for them. Although it hurts, it's not easy. It's not an easy process. I'm not telling you that I'm doing that, but sometimes we have to go deep inside. Because if we don't do that, we are not going into the cause. Because if we are undergoing some things in life, that's because either in the past, we haven't built some situations, or we chose to go through to develop other seeds, to develop other virtues. And it's hard. So this process is a cumbersome. We have to look and say, what is good inside me? What is not so right now? Everybody has to ask that question every single day. So the goal here is not to eliminate the bad feelings, the emotions that I don't want to deal with it. Is to process them, is to live with them. Without anger, we do not raise a child. Without anger, we don't have a good and healthy marriage, because there are days anger has to be part of the relationship, not to hurt the other, but for you to step up. It's how we deal with that emotion that counts. Anything bad or good. So that's the thing. Stay close to our feelings. Where the things are falling apart, I have to find where it hurts to try to see what the root of that condition that I'm going through. And to end our reflection tonight, I love to bring the master. The master of what? The spirit, the most bright and pure spirit that earth has ever seen. This brother went to a cross without needed. Oh, so he didn't need to go. No. Jesus, being the most pure spirit that earth has ever seen, the governor of this planet, the spiritual governor of this planet, don't you think that he could get out of the cross? He could. He could simply get out of that. Now, what a message. He didn't come to earth to teach us how to not have a struggle, to save us from struggle. Because if he did to do that, he would just say, hey guys, this is how we take a cross out. Move on. I'm free. No. He came to tell us how we undergo our afflictions. That's the point. The Jesus Savior is going to save her with his example. He had a cross. And what we had, what we are having, doesn't even compare. So when he says, I said these things to in me, you find peace. But guess what? There will be tribulations in this planet, my brothers and sisters. It's not going to be easy. But it's going to be worth it because I overcame this world. And you can too. So if we can, two things if we can take tonight. One thing, he did not came to take out the difficulties from our lives, but to teach us how to deal with them, how to grow with them. And one thing that we can never forget, God, it's more powerful and bigger than any situation that we're going through. Anything is greater than any struggle that we are encountering in life right now. We have to think about that in our prayers, in our conversations with our benefactors, because God equipped us with tools to overcome what we are going through. We just have to find them and use them for our good. So, dear friends, I hope that this message brings you a little bit of reflection to your hearts. May we go home in peace, and thank you so much for your attention. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Night we started in 2022, and we still going to this pandemic struggle. So